Hello, welcome back. I have returned to the shop from our brief blacksmithing vacation at the Rocky Mountain Blacksmithing Conference, and it's going to be time to get back to work here pretty quick. But I thought I would just sum up the conference experience real quick, explain to you a little bit about what went on now that we're back in the shop and we have better audio, because frankly the audio on some of the videos that I shot there are not the best, because the event is not put on for my benefit, and I'm sorry it's not put on for your benefit as a YouTube audience. It is put on for your benefit as blacksmiths if you choose to attend or want to seek out the official video. But for me, it's sitting in the background, trying not to get in the way, using the equipment I have at my disposal, and putting a microphone on the demonstrators simply is not a viable option. But anyways, we're back. While we were at the conference, the battle axe that I had made was displayed in the gallery. A lot of people really liked it. But it's got a handle on it now, and I just thought you folks might like to see what it looks like with the handle. The guys from the 10th Special Forces group will be here sometime this week to pick that up. So I need to sand it again and get the grubby blacksmith fingerprints off of it and get some more oil on the handle, and then it will be ready for them to give as a retirement gift. One of the things that goes on at a conference of this sort is often a little forging competition that is really just about fun. It's just about getting people involved. It is a place for the experienced smiths as well as the novice smith to try their skills with a project that nobody tells you about till you get there. There's no chance to rehearse, there's no chance to practice. It's something somebody comes up with every year and they say, today we are going to do, and you get 20 minutes, in this case to forge a nice square corner in round bar and keep the bar round. So part of the judging criteria was how round was the bar after the finished forging. Is the corner square? Is it 90 degrees? Has it got a nice sharp point on the outside? Nice clean corner on the inside? Perfectly round, still ½ inch. That's the ideal. And it's a lot of fun. I think there were close to 30 people competing in the forging competition. It started at about 7 o'clock. It didn't end till almost 11. So it was a long night. Another activity that we have, and it's something we started here, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, is a group project. And the group project is often led by the demonstrators, although we split up into 4 groups and there's only 3 demonstrators. So typically I end up taking one of the groups just because I'm on the board of directors and they need a volunteer, so I'm usually appointed to be that volunteer. And this year's project was a trivet. Unfortunately, my group did not finish their trivet. Actually, it was a trivet and a trammel. The trammel did get finished. So I ended up bringing the trivet home. I actually paid for it in the silent auction so that I could bring it home and I could finish it. But we'll look at this trivet in a little bit more detail and we'll make one like it. This one's actually made out of horseshoes, and it's an idea I saw in Taos, and I think I mentioned seeing that. But it's going to have its 3 legs. Of course, I still got to rivet it together. And it'll be a nice little trivet. I'll try and hold it up here so you can see it. And we'll may finish this as a video. If not, we'll make one from scratch. We'll start all over again. And I'll show you just what goes on in making something like this. But it's fun. There again, it's a place for brand new smiths to get in there and work with the other people at the conference. It's not a place to go sit and watch. It's a place to try your hand if you want to. You don't have to. Oftentimes at a conference or even a weekend workshop, when it's just a one-day event, we will have what is referred to as tailgate sales. For those of you that have never heard of that, pretty much that means people put stuff in the back of their pickup, they bring it up to the event, they open the tailgate, and they've got stuff there for sale. Usually it's equipment they have outgrown or something that they found a good deal at a sale somewhere and they're just sharing with people. There's all sorts of stuff available, vices, anvils, things like that. Although there wasn't much this year, it was pretty light. But Clay Spencer was there, and he didn't actually have a tailgate because he drives a Prius. But he had some nice treadle hammer tools, so I bought a set of side sets or butcher tools that are ideal for use under the treadle hammer or the power hammer from Clay, and this will be a nice treasured tool to have in my shop. And I also got this big thing. I don't know what this weighs. It's probably about 30 or 40 pounds. It's 1/2 inch thick, 2.5 inches wide, antique wrought iron. Apparently somebody in the area has a whole container load of this stuff. They were hoping somebody would buy the whole container load and just brought a few samples. But I don't think I want a container load of wrought iron. I don't want to be a wrought iron dealer. But this will last me a few years making some interesting wrought iron projects. And I was able to talk about it just buying the single piece they brought up as a sample before the event was over. And I got a pretty good deal. I probably paid less than $1 a pound for this. In addition to the tailgate sales, there's often a professional vendor. Somebody like Amy Pay from Pay Tools, who comes quite frequently, although she didn't make it this year. It was an Urbana conference year, and frequently she cannot manage to do both events in the same year. But this year, the folks from Oleo Acres, which is a Colorado-based farrier and blacksmith supply, managed to come up. They had this nice piece of 1095 steel in 1/4 inch thick. You usually don't see 1095 available in 1/4 inch thick, so this will be great for making cutting edges for axes, draw knives, chisels, things like that, adzes. So that'll be a really nice piece of steel to have. And I bought some interesting gloves. They're a leather palm glove, Kevlar back, kind of stretchy. We'll see if these are any better than the gloves I usually use, and if they are, I'll order more for them. But they had lots of stuff. They had anvils, they had small swedge blocks, they had tongs, they had hammers, they had grinders, they had sanding belts, welding flux, all of the stuff you might want. And this is a good place to find it if you have a local conference that has a vendor that shows up. But Oleo Acres is available online, as I understand. I don't have a link right off the top of my head, but if I can find one, I'll try to list it right down here. And you'll be able to find Oleo Acres if you're interested. And I'll add them to my list of links down in the description as well. And I think I've commented on the gallery. The gallery is just a place where people bring their work to share what they've made with other people. There are pieces in there from Clay Spencer, from knife makers, from other smiths. Frequently we have an armorer who comes who has brought full-size suits of armor that he has made, although he wasn't there this year. But some great work to see in the gallery, and you see what the other people that are there at the conference are working on, what they're making. You get to talk to them, ask them how they made it, what tooling they're using, and learn something from the people. It's not just the demonstrators and the demonstrations that you learn from. It's the camaraderie and the companionship that you learn from. It's taking the time at lunch and dinner to sit with somebody different every meal, to talk to them and find out who they are, what they do, and maybe get a few little pointers from them and just make new friends. It's a chance to sit and talk to the demonstrators, because they don't demonstrate the whole time. Each demonstrator has a small block of time, and that's when they're demonstrating. And when they are not, they are generally available, so you can sit and talk to people like Peter Ross or Patrick Quinn or Matt Jenkins about what they do and get some more insight into their lives as a blacksmith. Wonderful opportunity to educate yourself, get some inspiration. But the last thing I wanted to mention is the silent auction. All of the demonstrator pieces, as well as some pieces that are donated specifically for the silent auction. Remember our video on Stuart Shirley's work stand that he did? I think I'll put a link right up here. That work stand was donated to the silent auction, and I had the high bid for a while, but it went just a little over the budget that I was willing to pay, so somebody else ended up with that work stand. Now I guess I just got to make one. Anyways, I did get a few things in the silent auction. My wife really liked the hooks that Patrick Quinn was making, and she was able to buy a couple of the hooks that he made there as the demonstration. These aren't 100% finished. I'm going to need to finish them up. Mostly he was just demonstrating the key elements. So this one I'm still going to have to put the hook end on, put some holes in it. But nevertheless, we get a little treasure from the conference because we're willing to bid and outbid somebody else. And there's lots of things. The trivets from each of the 4 groups and the trammels are all in the silent auction. Patrick Quinn's wonderful kinetic sculpture with the spinning bar and the little brass feather was in the silent auction and brought a pretty fair price. Peter Ross's demonstration piece was in the silent auction, which was the one that I liked and was willing to bid quite energetically on. So I now own a little Peter Ross scroll. What will I do with this? I will probably put a little bit of a finish on it just to protect it, and it's going to hang on the wall. I'm not going to cut it up and put it into another piece of work. I'm not going to use it as an element for something I make. I'm going to save it and treasure it for just what it is. I can look at the welds, I can see how his tapers go, I can look at his scrolls, and we will look at doing some of these elements, although I'm not going to try and duplicate Peter's work. That would be impossible. Peter is a true master, and I'm a real amateur when I stand next to Peter Ross. But he's a heck of a nice guy. I really like him, and I really like watching him demonstrate because he is so practical and so straight to the point. And I'm going to try and do one more video of Peter Ross, but it'll be an all talking video. And as I say, the audio is not the best, so you'll just have to suffer through it if you want to hear what Peter has to say about 18th century blacksmithing. And hopefully later this week I'll get that done. But that's just a quick view of what we did at the conference, kind of a synopsis on my end. I got lots of work to do. Lots of emails while I was gone from customers wanting to know if I had their project done yet. So today I'm going to get busy in the shop. I'm going to try and get their projects done. I strongly encourage you to get out to your shop and make something. But if you get a chance to go to a local, regional, national conference, or even just a workshop with a bunch of other blacksmiths that's informal, do take the time to do that. You'll learn so much more when you start hanging out with other blacksmiths and get out of your comfort zone a little bit. But in any case, be safe, wear your safety glasses, and stop back by. We'll be doing more videos.